We're now going to move on to our third presenter, and that's m.rogers from Age UK Exeter. And Martin is going to be sharing and talking about men in sheds. Thanks, Martin.
Pleasure. Hello, everybody. Just to say, before the first lockdown, we were about to partner with Fair Share for our cafe in Carrick Street. And a great organisation. It would have made a real difference to us, but events overtook us and our cafe unfortunately is no more. So we, like lots of charities, have been through a tough time, lost our day services because you can't bring vulnerable older people together in the current climate. But so lost a lot of things, but still doing loads of stuff across the city. And one of those things is a project called Men in Sheds, which we've certainly hung on to. Do you want to do the next slide, James? So Men in Sheds was born not out of anything to do with recycling really, or the environment. It was because of the problem of old men. So we were aware with all the services we provided that there wasn't a proportionate amount of engagement from older men compared to older women. It's probably a generalization, but I think it is true that older women, or women in general, are just better socially, aren't they, than men. They a lot of times women find it easier to sit and talk and have a chat and enjoy each other's company. That's not exclusive, of course, but what we were hearing from a lot of older men was that they found that quite difficult. They wanted something more practical, and they almost wanted the chat and social interaction as a diversion, an offshoot of the things they were doing. So we heard about Men in Sheds. It started in Australia. This is back in 2011, 2012. And there were a couple of projects in the southwest. There was one in Gloucestershire, and we went to have a look at that. That's since folded, unfortunately. But anyway, we thought that was a good idea, a way of getting in touch with isolated older men. So we put a call out for older men to volunteer to refurbish donated tools and garden implements. At the same time, putting a call out to the public to donate those tools and garden implements. And fantastically, the two things came together. We had loads of people donating tools, and we had a lot of men who came forward wanting to do something and enjoy the camaraderie of doing it with other men. So we rented a workshop space in St Thomas, the old Hodges and Bridle builders yard. We rented part of that. We started 2 days a week, and guys would come in. They had different skill levels, different skill sets. Some were really skilled, ex-chippies, cabinet makers, engineers, electricians, all this kind of thing. Others less so, but they all kind of mucked in to do a job on refurbishing tools. We also did quite a lot of woodworking. We had a lot of donated woodworking equipment, which was a health and safety nightmare, which I lay awake at night and worried about. And then we got a grant from the good old Exeter Chiefs and bought a whole new lot of woodworking kit. So we got guys who do woodworking, make benches, make bird boxes, bat boxes, lots of garden trugs, lots of different things. And we were very fortunate to have the support of a health and safety specialist at Exeter College who would come in and oversee the competency of the guys who were doing that so that I could sleep at night. And so we did both refurbishment of tools and the making of garden benches and wooden items. We had funding from some trusts at the beginning and from Nesta. I don't know whether you've heard of Nesta. I think it stands for National Endowment for Science, Technology and the Arts. So we had a small grant for them to start off with, and they really liked what we were doing. So we got a slightly bigger grant, and then we went in for their national kind of prize, or we were nominated for their national prize, and we came second across the country in their national prize and won, I don't know, 25 grand or something. So that was good, and it gave everyone a lift, and it put some more money into the project. We then wanted to extend it to support older men with more complex health and social care needs. So the idea was that some of the more able men who've been involved in the project would buddy with men who maybe had had a stroke or had visual impairment or early dementia to support them in doing exactly the same thing as they were doing. And that worked okay for a while, and certainly those guys really enjoyed it. They were supported by paid staff as well that we employed. But before long, it became clear that the guys who were doing the buddying, what they really loved to do was the woodworking and the refurbishment rather than be de facto kind of teachers and carers. So we remodeled it and brought volunteers in to support the staff with those guys with more complex social care needs. And that's how it is at the moment. So the project runs 2 days a week for more able guys doing their own thing. And that's under with a lead volunteer who runs that, who's Martin Liddon, who's a fantastic bloke. And then on the other 2 days, we have 2 members of staff with a couple of volunteers who support the other men in doing what they want to do. We then had a shop in, first of all, in South Street, in one of Exeter City Council's vacant shops at the time, which they let us have as a pop-up shop rent-free, and that went very well. And then the best thing that happened to us was the bus station fiasco. I don't know who's going to see this, so I better be careful. When who was it? The Crown Estate pulled out of the bus station development, and that meant that the shops on Paris Street, opposite the Civic Centre, that was due to be demolished, weren't demolished. And so you'll be aware that there are a number of those shops along there now that are rented out at a very low rent, and so different organisations who wouldn't be able to afford that kind of retail outlet normally have been able to afford it. We've been in there, wow, since January, I don't know, for the last 4 years, I think, nearly 3.5 years anyway. And that's great because it gives us a public face. That's run completely by the guys themselves. It's been challenging, obviously, in the last few months with COVID, and we were closed for quite a while. Of course, we're closed now, although the workshop is still functioning, all socially distanced and the like. But
to interrupt, but we're coming to a close in 30 seconds.
So that shop is kind of turned into a social enterprise. That's generates for us, or did, about £1,000 a week. So it's fantastic because it's great for men, it's great for recycling a whole load of stuff that goodness knows where it would end up, and goes to loving new homes. And last year it contributed over £45,000 to the work that we do in the city on behalf of older people. So like I say, win-win-win.
Brilliant, thank you, Martin. We were quite we were talking about on our, we've just got interested around the Nesta application and didn't realise that was part of the work as well, in terms of the journey towards Men in Sheds, and the amount that you also bring back into the city. There is one question from Ruth. how do you decide what wooden items to make, and do you take orders?
We do, but we have to be careful, because otherwise we can get inundated and we keep people waiting too long because we don't have a great production line. So just recently, hedgehog boxes have been flying off the shelves. Thinking about hedgehogs who are hibernating, obviously. So the shop keeps phoning saying, make more, make more, make more. Benches. Particularly, you know, the garden benches with the wrought iron ends, and the slats go, don't they, after a while? So a lot of people donate those to us, or we just get the ends and we re-slap them and sell them in the shop. Lots of bug boxes, bird boxes, bat boxes, all that kind of stuff. And we have taken commissions for schools and allotment groups and that kind of thing.
Brilliant, thank you, Martin. You've actually given a great insight into the shop on the corner that I've walked past many a time over the last couple of years. Obviously, I'm not walking around Exeter at the moment, but I've always been really intrigued about how Linen Shed started. So thank you so much, Martin.
I'm going to buy something.
I will do next time I'm in Exeter.